Your brothers and sisters in Islam Net from Norway are establishing a masjid, a da'wah center. This masjid, this educational institution will act like a beacon of light, calling the Muslims in Norway back to the essence of Islam. So give generously and Allah Azza wa Jal will give you even more.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? I'm joined with two very esteemed gentlemen here to my left. One known for academic prowess and intellectual debate, and the other known for for his fantastic contribution to humankind.
The epistemology of clickbait.
Yes, I was going to say that today we're going to be talking about
Sprinkle.
a woman who's been on TikTok and who's been on Instagram, and I've seen some of her videos. Actually, some of them are very long, but I've seen them, and I've been reading, not just now, but I have been reading because a part of my work is to discover about feminism, and that's actually modern trends of it and permutations of it and so on. And so I read some of what people call dark femme literature.
Oh yeah.
Okay, for give you an example of that is a book that was written by Agrove called Why Men Love Bitches. Actually, it's it was a bestseller, and it's what you'll find in what this woman says here, and we're gonna go through some of it. Is I wouldn't say a copy and paste of that, but it's very similar to the kind of principles you read in that book. And also you could say, and she has been dubbed this, a kind of reverse of the Red Pill movement. So it's like people have called her the female Andrew Tate. Some people have compared her to Kevin Samuels. It's the same kind of thing, using if you like, the Robert Greene 48 Laws of Power, but, explicitly using them sometimes in the context of a relationship. So I wanted to just, first of all, before we start with the reaction, get your opinion on this, Ali, because you've been dealing with these things actually on the ground in the Muslim community. Why do you think some Muslim sisters in particular, because I did see the comment section and some of it did have lots of Muslims commenting, why do you think anyone would gravitate to this?
I mean, it's just opposite of the Red Pill movement. I think there's a deep hatred towards men as well. This can happen for a variety of reasons. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, my wife came across her videos. I was watching it with her once, and it's just funny because I was just like looking at it and thinking, like, sadly, there's so many I wish I call it vulnerable, misguided individuals who could just watch this, and because they've had a bad experience with men, and now they go to the other spectrum of, they become hostile, because the way she talks is like she I don't think she looks at men as human. It's like, what can I use him for?
It's a transactional value. Yeah.
Transaction. How can I manipulate him? Yeah. And it's like, just imagine if that was on the other side, which the Red Pill do, which were against Islam. We're trying to be balanced here. So yeah, you can see the dangers of that, because the marital unit is already under attack, and now this is added onto it. And sadly, it goes back to, again, with our sisters who are following this kind of narrative. It's a lack of tawakkul in Allah. And that's some woman who says, sprinkle, is going to give you some advice, and then you're going to try to implement it, and it's going to backfire, and you're going to suffer more. So it's sad, but I mean, we can go into it more by hearing it.
Okay, and Sabor, you've read all of Robert Greene's works. When we're going through these clips and stuff, I think you've read every single book, isn't it?
I haven't been through all of his stuff, but one thing I can say is it smells exactly like that.
No, I think it's explicitly that.
So look, it's instrumental, it's Machiavellian, it's very clearly dependent upon the consequences you're going to get, not the ethics or the values or the morals that you want in a relationship.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the first clip maybe, and then come back and respond in kind.
When a woman can walk away from a man and dismiss them like this, that makes the man want them more. That's why I tell y'all to ghost men sometimes. Because when you ghost a man and they can't figure it out, it's like, why did she ghost me? I was, it's because a lot of times when someone gets too comfortable and too attached and too whatever, their value goes down as special, or as the prize.
Okay, so let me respond to this first and then get you guys' opinion. Yeah. The first thing I want to kind of delineate here are two things. Here, first you have an ethical consideration, and then you have, if you want, a strategic consideration, right? So the ethical consideration, we consider, like you've mentioned before, it's unvirtuous, really. It's not virtuous action for you to come into a relationship, especially from our perspective as religious men, people that believe in Islam. into a relationship with this kind of transactional quality. Like, okay, what can I get from him? Yeah. Let me try and get him to basically try and manipulate him, etc., and so on and so forth. However, for the sake of argument, if you like, let's actually think about what she's saying from a strategic perspective. Let's assume that whoever's listening to this, whether it's a Muslim woman or a non-Muslim woman, doesn't care about those virtuous considerations or those ethical considerations. I would say that there's actually no evidence for what she's saying. Because what she's making is essentially a psychological point, right? Now, she's basically saying that if a woman is more dismissive in a romantic relationship, to put it in academic parlance, she's saying if a woman is more dismissive to a man in a romantic setting, that he is more likely to be attached to her. Now, there's no evidence for this. It's a comment that she's just made, but there's actually no evidence for this. What do you have to say about that, Ali? Do you agree with her sentiment or do you disagree with it?
No, of course not. It's she's... Maybe that will work with low-level tier men, like, No, it would, because the thing is, you need to understand, a man who's secure in himself, dealing with a woman or that behavior, I mean, that just shows me instability. Like, it shows me that person's not stable to do random acts, because what is this, playing games? Yeah, I come from a jahiliyyah, and these kind of games are played. Why? Because at the end of the day, Islamically, when you have a structure in place when it comes to wali, guardian, a protocol in place of getting to know someone, there is no games to be played. Now, when that element is taken out, you are in a game. Now, when you're in a game, you have to play the game. Now, that's why to me, what will surprise me is when I see Muslim women following her. The kuffar women, sadly, we want Islam for them, we want guidance for them. But because they don't have that, they have no choice but to adopt those games because they're already in the dirt. So for them to come out the dirt, they have to play games and mind tactics and this and that. What I find it odd is when Muslim women have to go and adapt these ideas, and if I do this and if I do that, if you're dealing with that kind of men, follow a woman.
I think you make a fantastic point, actually, because what she's actually doing is she's giving women the best advice of how to get rid of, if you like, high value men, high quality men from their life. So this will work
if you're dealing with
emotionally unresilient men.
Exactly. So I'm saying, if you're dealing with this kind of men, then please follow her.
The issue is that, the truth is, I actually believe you can make an argument that what she's saying will have the adverse effect for her target audience, because
it will definitely, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because of disrespect. You see, a man who understands his own value and he wants to be respected, the more respect he gets, the more of a hero complex he gets, the more he wants her to act more feminine, the more the more generous he's going to be in the way he actually acts. But when he feels that level of disrespect, then his reaction is not going to be what she's telling people. She has no experience of this. The reaction is going to be like, I don't need her either.
Exactly. So I think let's listen to the second part, because we've got a couple clips here to listen to.
Sprinkle.
So even if you ghost a man to be single, it doesn't mean you're not dating. It doesn't mean you're not looking. It doesn't mean you're not having fun out there and doing the most. So when they know that you would rather be alone than deal with them, it also makes them upset. And they want you even more. So they'll try to come back and chase you. They'll try to come back and woo you. They'll try anything to get you back because they know your value.
Okay, so on this issue of chasing, actually, this is one of the key tenets of the female red pill. Okay, we're going to call this now, this kind of behavior, we're just going to call it the female red pill. Right. We're going to call it that. Call it the purple pill. Let's give it a name. Let's give it a name. The purple pill, because then, if a person behaves in this manner, say, look, you're behaving in the purple pill manner.
Why don't we call it the dirty pink pill?
No, purple pill is alliteration, something you can.
Just before we get into the chasing thing, what she said was quite disturbing. It doesn't mean you can't mess around. It doesn't mean you can look at other men.
Of course.
I'm sorry, that's street behavior.
But that's what she does.
Any girl that acts like that,
she doesn't care.
She's for the streets, and she's talking about the girls on the streets.
The thing is, that type of behavior and that type of culture, it's spreading so far. So many times you see this online. This person cheats on that person, that person. So what type of sluttish behavior is she trying to?
That's what she's trying to. But you need to understand. They're dealing with low tier men, and now they're getting women to devalue themselves so they can meet each other in a specific level. That's what she's prescribing. Because a woman, you need to understand, a woman that actually likes a specific, like a man, she will do, like, there will be, a woman communicate covertly, but she will still be doing some kind of indirect chasing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? A woman who she's advising that, she's saying that, let him chase you or keep a distance. Those kind of women, those men are in the friend zone. They're not. A woman that genuinely likes a man would find it very hard and difficult to keep him at bay, like in a sense where keep the distance, because she wants that man and she fears a woman. Usually because of the hormones, they are already there's instability. So for example, for her, it's even worse to be like, okay, I'm going to play mind games and keep him at distance, because they fear the risk of losing that man if he's
Do you know? I mean, so this is something that Agrove mentioned in her book, Why Men Love Bitches, and she gives a very interesting analogy that now a lot of people are using the same kind of analogy, which is that when a hunter goes out and he gets, whatever it is, he hunts whatever he hunts, deer for the sake of argument, the chase, makes him very proud of what he's hunted. That's why he sticks it on the wall, etc., etc.
He's proud of it.
Now, look, here's what I want to say. First and foremost, I don't think there's complete falsehood in this statement.
Of course not.
For example, a woman who is groveling, desperate,
100%.
a woman who's chasing,
Yeah.
a woman who's showing no self-respect, I think that's unattractive.
That's cross-cultural, bro. That happens with friends. That happens with the opposite. Men to woman, man to woman. It's a cross-cultural thing, bro.
I haven't done the studies on this, but I think I would probably be right in thinking that if a woman is too much in that direction, that she would be,
or even a man.
Yeah, even a man. Of course, a man. Yeah, right.
No, yeah, exactly.
But on the other hand, what she's describing here can actually have the same impact. So in other words, if you're leaving too much of a distance,
Yes.
it can cause the same problem.
Yeah.
The man may interpret that as disrespectful behavior. He may interpret that as, well, she's not interested, lack of interest. And it's only a man with low, like you said, low tier man. It's a good way of putting it. Low quality man who's going to start chasing.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing I want to mention from our perspective as Muslim men, right? There is something in Islam called al-ila. Al-ila and also hajar. These two concepts are basically when a man, for the process of disciplining his wife, would, for example, give her the silent treatment, or go to another house, or go, not have engaged with her intimately, etc.
Yeah.
The only allowance that Islam allows for a man, obviously because there's a hierarchy here in Islam, in that context, is the allowance where she's being nashes or she's being rebellious. Now he has that tool in his disposal. Here's what I want to say is that if a Muslim man now, because I think this is advice I would probably have benefited from before I became married and so on, but if a Muslim man, right, is being treated like that by his wife,
for no reason.
For no reason.
He hasn't cheated.
The point I'm making, for no reason. I think what she's trying to do is she's making a power move on him. And if he accepts it, he becomes submissive. He actually he might have, tangibly, he might be financially powerful. Tangibly, he might have all the infrastructure in place, all that kind of thing. He might be much more powerful than her from all those perspectives. But if she wins this game, she wins all the games. She actually becomes in control of that relationship.
And not only that, she will not be attracted to her husband. You need to understand the dynamics between man and a woman is not the same. If a woman, this is the reason why, I'll be honest with you, I highly do not advise women to get advice from other women. I'd rather say to them to go to women that are mature, who have been married, who have some kind of experience.
You know, Ali, you made a very good point. 'Cause sometimes when there's a change in someone's behavior, it's due to their friends. It's due to their friends feeding certain information into them. And what we have to realize is this type of information that she's chucking on the internet is one of the problems of having everybody having access, right? Is destroying relationships. Like this is the sort of thing that will destroy the power dynamic, because in any relationship you have to have a hierarchy. You can't walk into an organization and say everyone's the boss.
No, exactly. And the boss has a specific role to play. So the thing is here is when a woman, when she's trying to get their husbands to submit, or their boyfriends to submit to the woman, a woman innately with her nature does not like a man that's submissive.
Unless once again you go for those men that we talked about, the unresilient ones, for example.
Then what happens is that if that man is insecure, when he succumbs to that, she's automatically already put off. So she's seeking something that's going to cause a demise.
It's true. Let's go for the third clip.
I thought you were 40. You look so young. What are you doing? You must work out. Maybe build him up, make him forget he old. Then when you need to pull that trigger, pull it. Well, did they have telephones when you were a little boy?
So basically she's saying that build your man up, build him up, give him praise, give him give him the carrot, give him the incentive, and then when the time comes when you want to manipulate him for your own needs, whatever it is, then just humiliate him. So basically use ultra praise and ultra humiliation as means of manipulating where does this, or where have you read this before? Let's say.
No, this is standard Machiavellian understanding.
Yeah.
This is standard gaslighting, standard way of manipulating people to get the consequence that you actually want. What's so interesting about what she's actually saying is, what's the evidence that any of this works? Because the thing I was thinking about when she was talking is, what makes you think a man doesn't know what you're doing?
Exactly. It's a good way. Exactly. No, do you know what it is? This will work on a low IQ man. It might work on a low IQ man, but the thing is that you are underestimating the IQ of men. One of the things in a standard IQ test that you're actually, if you like, tested for, is pattern detection. If a man starts seeing, okay, well, she's starting to give me the cold treatment for no reason.
Every time it's pay time.
Or some other reason, or she's just doing it haphazardly or arbitrarily. Do you not think any decently intelligent man's going to detect that and understand that you're doing that?
Well, the thing is, maybe she's been running in the circles where you have room temperature IQ, which is why maybe some of this stuff is actually working. But like you said, any other person would realize, okay, a game's being played, and they'll do a 4D chess move. Like, she doesn't even, what I find interesting is she's giving you one tactic. She's not telling you he may get onto this or do this X, Y, Z. There's no Napoleonic understanding.
Do you know how we started off by saying this is very Machiavellian, very, kind of like instrumentalist, very consequentialist, and so on and so forth, yeah? The truth of the matter is, it's not as manipulative as she wants it to be, and I'll explain why. No. A true woman manipulator, I'm not trying to give anyone advice, but I'm being honest, would not mention finances at all. Yeah, she would not be doing things that can be easily telegraphed. It's basically she's telling women to telegraph every single one of her punches so that the man can detect. She can detect exactly what you're doing. A true manipulator, there's a higher level of manipulation, which is to leverage him with love and compassion and all that kind of thing. Then if she does it like that, then she's going to get more out of him.
So brilliant. You know that guy, the Tinder swindler, whatever he was called, right? One of the things that's so powerful about these types of scammers is that they would build rapport by not telegraphing the moves, by actually spending on you continuously, and then you're expected to spend on them. So it's a very sophisticated hierarchy of getting people confused through layers of deception.
So actually she's a weak man. And we have to, I think, define here what manipulation is, because I think one way you can say is you will not be manipulated if you are not emotional, if you're not triggered.
Yeah.
Okay. So she's trying to trigger, and she actually has a video of that title. She's like, how to trigger a man or something like that. And well, I don't know what men you're triggering, honestly. I think it's, once again, low IQ men, low quality men. You can trigger them all you like. But this shows you the importance for Muslim men that are watching this, that are getting into relationships, or non-Muslim men as well that will benefit, no problem. That when you get into a relationship, okay, emotional control, okay, not to be triggered, not to shout, not to raise your voice, not to get violent, this is one of the most important things a man has to know before to get into a relationship. Sure. If a woman has succeeded, if your wife has succeeded in making you angry and act uncharacteristically, then you have lost. That's how she wins.
That's true. I mean, like, I think we need to just quickly analyze also a bit about her, because there's a lot of things to be said. Because firstly, I believe with these kind of women who have dedicated their whole entire channel or their existence to how to control a man and how to do that, you need to understand they come from places of, look, every woman wants stability. Every woman wants somebody that they this is in their nature biologically as well. They have to procreate. They're the one who are in vulnerable positions. The hormones go up and down. They need somebody who can look after them and protect them. And women like these, sadly, what happens is, because they don't have a structure in their life like Islam does, that's given to them to protect their rights and protect their honor, because they don't have that, they get violated, they get used and abused.
Exactly.
Now when they get used and abused, Aki, what happens is that they turn in resentment. Now a question I want to ask is, how old is her husband or sugar daddy?
I think it might be with 60s and 70s.
Okay, let me ask you a simple question.
I think there's a huge difference.
Let me ask you a simple question, bro. It's very simple. It makes perfect sense. Okay.
The fact that he's allowing her to say all this online,
look,
she's
married to a low tier man, Aki. Let me tell you something.
No, apparently he's got a lot of money though, this guy.
That's my point, bro. Listen to me very carefully. She is there talking about who would marry a woman who's clearly saying how to violate another individual as a man? Now, number one. Number two, it shows that, do you really think if you went to her and said, is this your ideal man that you're married to? She'll say, no way in hell. So she is married to a man she does not like, who she is using, which means that she comes from a background of, she had an idealistic man which used her and abused her and chucked her away.
You never know, she could love this man.
No, brother. Genuinely, a woman A woman who marries a man at that age, bro, believe me, she is with that man for a specific reason. Okay, and now she's venting out because she never got.
Well,
to
I think
marry
the evidence
the man.
of that would be the fact that she just keeps talking about the fact that you go take the money of the man. Isn't, yeah,
and she's venting out because the man she genuinely wanted to, she couldn't get. And when a woman settles down, she is the most dangerous. And she is settled now. And settled means she has no choice but to marry an old man that's a sugar daddy that will just provide her lifestyle so she can make TikTok videos about him. Yes. So to me, it just shows that she's she is
disrespecting her own husband.
No,
videos like this.
Yeah,
it's like
she don't care. She clearly don't
exactly.
care.
It shows that she has no respect, Aki. And to me, to go to someone like her and take any kind of advice, it's catastrophic.
I think, you know, honestly.
But one last thing I want to mention is, who would watch videos like this? I would say anybody that watches videos like this, that's fatherless behavior. That's brotherless behavior. Only if you don't have, if you have weak men in your family, you have low IQ men, you have low men from the perspective of ghira, of having protection, jealousy. Only then would you have women that go around looking. Because look, why is it? And this is something all of us have probably experienced when talking to our wives or whoever it is. That whenever there's a woman who comes from a good family where her brother's protective, her uncle's protective, her cousin's protective, her dad's protective, that woman is more feminine and doesn't listen to this crap.
Yes, she knows what queen treatment is, bro, because she's been, her brother, her father's looked after.
And the thing is, I think we have to take away from all of this is that Islam encourages a system of complementarity, okay? Of where that man and the woman, she started off by talking about the woman being a prize. And the red pill, this is exactly the language of the red pill, by the way. They say the man is the prize. In fact, in the Rational Male, the book, what do you call it? The red pill book, the Bible of the red pill, it says something of that nature, right? And they all talk about that. The point is that she's saying that women are the prize. So she's reversing what the red pill, copy and paste, plagiarizing actually, what they're saying, but use it for women. This language is all false. Why? Because the truth is, a man has something to gain from a woman, and a woman has something to gain from a man. So for each other, they're prizes for each other. I know it sounds cliche to say, but if there wasn't a transactional value that was outside of the material, something to do with the emotional aspect, something to do with the spiritual aspect, something to do with all of that kind of thing, then men and women would be getting together for all of humankind. That's the first thing. So I think the first thing we need to understand is that the aim is complementarity. Absolutely. That we complete each other, not to oppose one another, number one. And number two is authenticity. At the end of the day, stop playing mind games, stop trying to adopt these techniques, stop trying to, instead of all this, just be open, honest, authentic. And the good quality men that you want in your life, you'll find those good quality men recognizing that in you. Okay, and then you'll be in a better place. Otherwise, continue doing this stuff, and you'll find exactly what you're looking for.
And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. You start playing those silly games, that person, I'm sorry to say, people are going to refute me for this. Some women may not like me saying this, but when it comes to manipulation, the man, if he wants to get into that, he'll play games which are far more sophisticated. So if it's going to be like, okay, so you want to play these games? Okay, bang. They're just going to start playing way more sophisticated games. Because this woman, like I said before, what is she doing? She is simply giving you a B, C level of manipulation, which is just do this little thing. There's no counter to this. Plan B, what happens if this happens, or if he comes back with this particular attack, how do you do this? Nothing. It's just stick to this plan.
Just be a high quality woman, inshallah, and a man, a decent man would find you. I mean, it's as simple as that. If you're going to follow this woman's advice, it's going to be sprinkle over your graveyard.
On that, we'll conclude. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hey you, are you wasting your time on social media again? Your brothers and sisters in Islam Net from Norway are establishing a masjid, a Da'wah center. Establishing a masjid to convey the message of Islam is one of the best deeds a Muslim can do. There's a huge need for it in Norway. You know this and I know this. So that makes the reward even greater. So give generously and Allah Azza wa Jal will give you even more.